DxO has something new, and something that I would say essential for any enthusiast and professional photographers, especially for those who have an existing workflow like using ACR, Adobe Lightroom, or Capture One, and want to take advantage of DxO's now famous Deep Prime AI noise reduction and lens profile corrections and enhancement. Today, I want to talk about DxO's newest addition, PureRAW. You'll see it in action and some sample images so you can judge its performance yourself. Sounds good? Let's do this. Hi, my name is Cheng, a photographer and filmmaker. This channel is created to help you become a better photographer, videographer, or both, by sharing my 16 years of experience working in the commercial world. I also review techs and gadgets to help you get those shots and videos better and quicker. I'm also an Olympus ambassador, so you see a lot of Micro Four Thirds equipment in my videos. But I'm talking about photography and filmmaking in this channel, therefore everyone is welcome. So smash that subscribe button and hit that bell to stay notified for all my upcoming contents. Before diving deep, just a disclaimer that this video isn't sponsored and I'm not paid to say or to promote this software. I'm also using a beta version of PureRAW for the review, which by the time you're watching this, an official version would be out. DxO also runs a launch promotion with a huge discount until the 31st of May, and I will include an affiliate link for the free trial software in the description below. It won't cost you anything extra, but for every download and any eventual purchases, if you like it of course, I will earn some commission which will help this channel. So without further ado, it's time to see why DxO PureRAW may be every photographer's friend. Last year, I did a few review videos on DxO's PhotoLab and their Aquanic software suite. I was mightily impressed with the latest update of PhotoLab version 4, especially with their first and revolutionary AI-based noise reduction Deep Prime. I would go as far as labeling it as the best raw processing software for Micro Four Thirds users, because it literally mitigates one of the worst enemies of this portable format: noise. Since I reviewed PhotoLab 4, I have literally hundreds, if not thousands of photographers try the software, and most were very curious about this AI-based noise reduction after my demonstration in my video. And many, and I do mean quite a few photographers who eventually bought the software told me just how great it was and it actually worked as advertised, and how it brought back some of the old raw files that were shot in high ISO back to life. And interestingly, even though my video was targeted mostly at Micro Four Thirds photographers, many were full-frame users too. In short, DxO made a revolutionary piece of software that genuinely and cleverly removed noise from supported raw files. These photographers also reported that their files not only look cleaner, but also sharper and with more details. And it's all because of the tailored lens profile that corrects any defects and further enhances its sharpness and clarity that PhotoLab 4 recognizes. So it's not just for noisy images, but for any images. However, there was one problem. As great as PhotoLab 4 was, many, including myself, still use other softwares. Not that switching is a problem, but more to do with a try and tested workflow that many enthusiasts and professionals have developed and used over the past decade or more. I have no problem using PhotoLab 4 as a plugin, but it's an extra few steps and I'll lose the colors that I'm very familiar with when using my own RAW processor for my final edits. I guess DxO listened and here's the result. PureRAW is a piece of independent software that cleans and enhances your RAW files. Okay, it may sound a little weird, and quite rightly so, because I was too when I first heard about what PureRAW does. Just think of it as a washing machine. You can just dump any dirty laundry into the washing machine and press the button. A moment later, you'll get some clean laundry with some extra sparks. PureRAW processes any raw files, cleans up the noise, applies any corrections that's applicable, and then output DNG RAW for further processing. It's a simple process, and you won't lose any data or dynamic range from your original RAW files. In fact, you gain more data because of the extra details that PureRAW extracts. It's a sophisticated piece of software with a simple user interface, and it does what it says on the tin. When you first launch PureRAW, there isn't much, with a blank page and a few buttons. But before you do anything, I would suggest a separate storage for your processed RAW files, whether it's within your memory card or any other storage, internal or external. This is because PureRAW will generate a new set of cleaned up DNG RAW files on top of your original RAW files. Yes, your original set is untouched, so you can always keep them as your backup. Right, there are two main ways you can use DxO PureRAW. First, you can use it to clean all your RAW files before importing to your RAW processor. For the purpose of demonstration, I'll use my standard workflow and RAW processor, Adobe Lightroom Classic. Remember, PureRAW not only cleans the noise from your RAW files, but it will also apply DxO's tailor lens profile corrections at the same time to increase the level of details and applies geometry and perspective controls to maximize every pixel in your files. So, after selecting the files you want to clean, PureRAW will determine which lens profile it needs by reading the metadata in your RAW files and ask you if you want to download them. Once downloaded, there are a few options you can choose, the type of noise reduction you want to apply, such as HQ, Prime, or D-Prime. Well, I suppose if you're interested in PhotoLab 4 and PureRAW, you are most likely want to use the AI noise reduction, so I will just leave it with D-Prime. Then you can select the output format, either JPEG or DNG. And finally, the destination folder for those cleaned up files to be stored. And this is why I said you have to ensure there is sufficient room to store another set of RAW files, whether it's the source folder in your memory card or a separate folder in your external or internal storage. When the set is processed, cleaned, corrected, and stored, PureRAW will then ask you if you want to export them to your favorite RAW editor. And this is pretty much it. Simple, an extra step, but it's a worthy step if you're a pro or serious enthusiast. Second way to use PureRAW is to use it as a plugin. I can select one or multiple photos for PureRAW to clean within my Lightroom library. At present, this process is a little weird. Instead of using the pop-up menu, I have to select and drag these images to PureRAW, process them, and then re-import them back to the library. It's a little disconnected, but doable. DxO did say that they will iron this process out in future updates. One thing I like about D-Prime is how it cleans up the noise in a very natural way. Even the bokeh remains natural. Only visible luminous and color noises are removed, resulting in a much better quality image file than the plastic-looking noise reduction in Lightroom. More importantly, PureRAW also applies DxO's famous tailor lens profile corrections. Your files actually look way better than original, with more details and sharper. The latter is astonishing. I actually don't need to further sharpen the processed DNG RAW or just to apply a little if I want my images to look extra crisp. All the distortions and vignetting are corrected in PureRAW too, so you don't have to do that again in Lightroom. So overall, all you need to do after is to concentrate on what you are supposed to do in Lightroom, namely colors and tones. Bravo! As the program name suggests, PureRAW only accepts RAW format, so it doesn't process any JPEG or TIFF files. But it's any RAW as long as it is in DxO's database. But I am quite surprised to learn that it even supports Olympus TUF cameras. Out of curiosity, I tried it on my older TG-5 RAW files. Some of you may remember I had some reserves about the image quality on TG-5 tele-range. I said that it was a little soft in my review. So I found one of my old library and decided to use PureRAW to clean it up. The result was pretty shocking. As you can see, the haze and halo disappeared magically, and the rock surface details were retrieved and enhanced. And just look at the lighthouse too. This is crazy. So, if you so happen to use some older cameras, PureRAW may give you a few pleasant surprises. Now, you should appreciate just how good DxO profile correction is. Together with D-Prime, PureRAW gives you a much cleaner, and more importantly, better and richer RAW files for post-processing. But there are still limitations in its profile corrections. If your lens or body is not recognized by PureRAW, for example, if you're using one of those lovely Laowa manual lenses, only noise reduction will be applied. So you have to do all the corrections manually in Lightroom or any software you use. You still get a very clean RAW, just without any lens sharpening or corrections. As great as DxO PhotoLab 4 is, many still hesitated to use. It is because of familiarity and established workflow that photographers employ over the years. Yes, photographers are stubborn beasts, and we hate changes. So I personally think that regardless of what type of photographer you are or what brand you're using, PureRAW is a no-brainer. It doesn't do any harm to your original RAW files. In fact, it enhances them. It doesn't change your workflow only by adding one extra step before import, or using it as a spot enhancement or batch process for a selection of your images. If you're impressed with what PhotoLab 4 can do in noise reduction and profile corrections, but think that its other features are overkill for what you need, and all you want is that cool deep prime and lens profile corrections, then PureRAW will be the perfect pre-post editing processing software. For photographers who already have and using PhotoLab 4, there is no need to change if you already switched over. However, for those who are using PhotoLab 4 as a plugin, just to use deep prime and corrections, then there may be a case of getting PureRAW instead, because it is a simpler process and you can keep everything as it. DxO PureRAW is not a revolutionary software. Instead, it's an essential software for those who want to take advantage of deep prime and DxO famous lens profile corrections. Of course, the need of PureRAW depends on individual photographers' needs. Don't get me wrong, I love PhotoLab 4, but the bulk of my work is still coming off the Adobe Lightroom. So as a professional, I would say that PureRAW is a must to enhance my workflow, so I can continue my established process with better RAW files and keep my PhotoLab 4 for specific usage and processing. Don't forget, PhotoLab 4 still has some cool features like viewpoint and film presets, and of course, all the important viewpoint technologies. There you go. I hope you enjoyed this review and let me know what you think about DxO PureRAW. Are you already a PhotoLab 4 user? Have you tried Deep Prime? If not, remember you can try it for free and I have a link in the description. And that's it. You know what to do now. Thumb if you enjoyed this video and sub if you want to support this channel and me. Peace. Whew. Tough night. Enjoy.